My name is Naum. I'm going to be refuting Eden's claims. First of all, she said that the Cahsee is a chance for students to display their knowledge. The Cahsee only tests mostly on English, reading, and math. So according to the University of California, in order to graduate, I'm sure you've all heard of the A through G requirements, which are history, English, laboratory science, the language other than English, which is a foreign language, visual and performing arts, and college preparatory elective. If we're only testing students on these two things, why should we hold them back from earning a diploma? They already fulfilled all the other requirements, most of them. As a matter of fact, they're not going to be given a diploma if they don't fulfill these requirements, the A through G requirements. Why are they not being tested on their foreign language? I took 6 years of Japanese, I was never tested on that. Chemistry, science, there's other important stuff as well. Another thing is that according to Derek Meter, who's a teaching expert, the Cahsee, which is a standardized test, only evaluates the individual performance of the student on the day of the test instead of the overall growth of the student over the year. So I'm sure many of us have had those days that we aren't feeling well. There was a girl in my calculus class that she puked and also had a seizure that day. So why should she be punished for one bad day? Also, the affirmative side, that they said that they get multiple chances to pass this test. It seems that if they're getting multiple chances, it's more of a memorizing test. Because if you're getting a test multiple chances, there's really no point for a test. You're pretty much spotting them a chance to pass. So there's really no point to have this standardized test. Also, the Cahsee doesn't work because the Cahsee also goes on how high schools are ranked. So since the scores according to Alexander Salter, since scores on the Cahsee impact everything from school funding to teachers and administrator job security, it's easy to see why it has such impact on how schools run. Teachers and counselors now place a huge emphasis on preparing students for the Cahsee, often at the expense of time that could be spent preparing students to excel in college and beyond. So since schools are funded based on how well their students are doing, it seems logical that teachers are going to put more of a focus to passing the Cahsee. Therefore, they're stopping students from developing other skills, such as social skills. So actually the Cahsee is hurting students by depriving them of all these other skills that they need in their life. Also, they argue that the test does not help prepare students for college, and that the SAT level participations are at an all-time high. According to the U.S. News, overall the number of students taking the college entrance exams, which is the SAT, did increase by more than 7% in 1 year. However, the percent of test takers who met the College Board's college and career readiness benchmark has remained essentially unchanged since at least 2009. Therefore, it means if these students are taking the SAT and planning to move on to college, it's obvious that they passed the Cahsee. However, since 2009, the level of the College Board's college and career readiness has remained essentially unchanged. So it means that the Cahsee is really not doing much to elevate students' knowledge. Because even though there's more people taking the test, it means that they still are not ready for college, even with the Cahsee. If students do not pass the Cahsee and do not receive their diploma, they get something that's called a certificate of completion. However, according to the U.S. Department of Education, the certificate of completion is not actually an academic credential. It only certifies attendance of high school. They can't be used as a prereq to admission in a post-secondary institution or any program that requires a high school degree. Therefore, many of these students are actually minorities, immigrating from countries such as Mexico, Guatemala, anywhere from Central America and Europe. So many of them do not know how to speak English, and actually many of them do pass sections of the Cahsee. However, it's the English portion that they do not pass. Therefore, it's preventing them from moving on to a higher level of college. And even if they get the certificate of completion, they cannot get their dream of moving on to a four-year university. The affirmative also said that they wanted to base an exam after the Common Core, and also have after-school programs to help students pass the test. However, according to the Washington Post, these tests, such as the Cahsee, mostly benefit companies making millions from them. Companies such as Pearson Education and others profited enormously from the testings. Therefore, it shows that these companies want the test to keep going because it makes them more money. And if you're giving students 6, 7, 8 more chances, you're just giving them more money, these big companies. According to Joanne Rupert, who's a state and federal public policy consultant, nowadays California easily shell out over $550 million a year to administer, defend, tutor, and teach the Cahsee beginning in 7th grade. So it shows that we're actually losing a lot of money by administering this test, when obviously there isn't. It shows that students are still not ready for college.
Negative has 3 minutes of prep time left.